On June 25, 2026, a leak detailed that Kraken's parent company, Payward Inc., was in early-stage talks to acquire a 15% stake in Aave Group at a $385 million valuation using a pool of 35,000 ETH. Within minutes, the internet stripped away every single caveat, completely ignored a direct public pushback from Aave's own founder, and spun this into an institutional accumulation narrative designed to drive paid group signups. My name is Newell. Welcome back to the Signal and Noise podcast. Before we separate the structural truth from the speculative fiction, hit that like and subscribe button to keep your capital anchored while the rest of the market chases ghosts. Today we deliver a raw, diagnostic breakdown on the Fed's exchange and the Aave rumor mill. We are going to analyze the exact mechanics of Kraken's actual Federal Reserve master account, break down the math of the leaked pitch document, look directly at Stani Kulichov's immediate public refutation, and map out the real strategic synergy between tokenized equities and decentralized lending. Let's dive in. Let's strip away the emotional bias and look directly at the timeline of the paper trail. This entire narrative storm kicked off on June 25, 2026, when CoinDesk published a report citing 3 anonymous sources and an internal document outlining a potential private token and equity deal. The document alleged that Payward Inc., Kraken's parent company, was looking to syndicate a deal where they would deploy 35,000 ETH, worth roughly $71 million at the time, to secure a 15% common equity stake in Aave Group alongside an allocation of 250,000 Aave tokens. This valued the entity at a clean $385 million. If you only watch hype videos, that's where your information ends. But let's look at the actual reality. The very next day, Aave founder Stani Kulichov stepped directly into the arena to clear the air, and he didn't mince words. He took to public channels to completely dismantle the sensationalized framing of the leak. Here is exactly what he stated. First off, there is no way we'd sell Aave at a 70% discount lol. Aave Labs owns an allocation of Aave that multiple market participants have discussed purchasing. The article's framing is inaccurate. Stani reminded the entire market of a core decentralized principle that the mainstream media completely glossed over. Aave Labs is merely a service provider to the DAO. 100% of the protocol and GHO stablecoin revenue routes directly to Aave token holders, not a centralized corporate entity. As of right now, June 28, 2026, this deal remains an unconfirmed, highly disputed corporate rumor. Kraken has flatly declined to comment, and Aave has formally walked back the most aggressive elements of the story. This isn't an institutional insider front-running retail. It's a typical enterprise negotiation that got leaked early, framed incorrectly, and weaponized by social media algorithms for clicks. Now, let's tackle the phrase that's being used as clickbait across the internet. The Fed's only crypto exchange. Where does that line actually come from, and what is the real underlying structural signal? Earlier this year, on March 4, 2026, Kraken Financial, which is Kraken's Wyoming-chartered special-purpose depository institution, secured a limited purpose, or SKINNY, Federal Reserve master account. This was a massive, historic operational win. A Fed master account gives an institution direct access to FedWire and core U.S. payment rails. It means Kraken can clear dollar transactions directly with the central bank without needing to pay, trust, or rely on an intermediary commercial clearing bank. It reduces counterparty risk and drops transactional friction to near zero. But let's be entirely peer-to-peer here. The hype videos make it sound like Jerome Powell gave Kraken a blank check to go buy altcoins on the open market. It is a highly restricted, limited scope account approved explicitly as a pilot framework. The Fed didn't partner with Kraken to pump DeFi tokens. They allowed Kraken into the sandbox to test how a compliant, regulated digital asset depository settles traditional fiat inflows at scale. So when influencers scream that the Fed's exchange is cornering an asset, they are conflating a highly regulated, restrictive central banking clearing rail with a speculative corporate venture capital deal. Don't fall for the jargon mashup. If the deal isn't a secret master plan to corner the market, why is Kraken even talking to Aave Labs in the first place? If we look past the noise, the real operational synergy is incredibly fascinating and points directly to where the digital asset landscape is migrating in late 2026. Kraken isn't just a spot exchange anymore. They have been quietly and aggressively expanding their footprints into tokenized real-world assets and traditional equities, launching products like X stocks to trade over 100+ tokenized traditional equities natively on Ledger infrastructure. If you tokenize 100 blue-chip stocks, you instantly face a secondary structural problem. What do your users actually do with them? In traditional finance, if you own millions in equities, you don't just let them sit there. You pledge them as collateral to borrow capital, optimize your tax liabilities, and deploy liquidity. This is where Aave enters the equation. Aave is the undisputed sovereign king of decentralized lending, boasting a total value locked well north of $68 billion. It features the most resilient, time-tested smart contract architecture on Earth for borrowing against digital primitives, the pre-IPO optimization. Furthermore, Kraken is systematically hardening its balance sheet and expanding its native yield integrations, like their DeFi Earn product, which is already directly powered under the hood by Aave's infrastructure, ahead of a highly anticipated potential IPO. Kraken isn't abandoning its exchange model to become an altcoin maximalist. They are trying to build an institutional-grade pipeline where a user can hold a tokenized share of a traditional company and seamlessly tap into a $68 billion decentralized lending pool to borrow stablecoins instantly. It's an infrastructure integration play, pure and simple. Let's lay the absolute facts out on the table so you can insulate your capital from the emotional volatility of the timeline. Kraken has a FedMaster account. True. First crypto-native bank approved for a highly limited skinny pilot account in March 2026. Kraken is acquiring a 15% Aave stake, unconfirmed rumor, based entirely on a leaked document. No official corporate sign-off has occurred. Aave sold tokens at a 70% discount, completely denied. Stani Kulachov explicitly debunked the valuation discount and labeled the framing inaccurate. Kraken is betting its whole strategy on one coin, pure hype noise. This is standard pre-IPO product expansion and corporate diversification into tokenized real-world assets. So, what is the definitive signal to take away from this entire episode? The signal is that the wall separating regulated Fed-connected financial institutions and decentralized lending protocols is becoming completely transparent. The big players aren't looking to eliminate decentralized protocols. They are looking to buy into the service providers, integrate the APIs, and build corporate extensions on top of them. Your professional playbook here is straightforward. Stop buying into assets based on leaked, unconfirmed, and sensationalized valuation multiples pushed by anonymous accounts on Twitter. Look at the real plumbing. Watch how real-world asset tokenization scales. Pay attention to organic protocol fee distributions, and track genuine, verified corporate integrations. The institutions are building a highly integrated financial network. Understand the layout of the pipes, or remain the liquidity that fills them. Stay sharp, stay focused. That's it for this reality check edition of the Signal and Noise podcast. Do me a quick favor and smash that like and subscribe button before you log off today. Keep your metrics clean, ignore the engagement bait, and we'll see you on the next block. Please, this is not financial advice. Do your own research.